Hello and welcome to Stories and Lessons. My name is Amy Ebert and I'm your host for today's podcast. Welcome back to the series on all things outside of your comfort zone. Cohesiveness, or the desire to appear cohesive in a group, may produce a tendency among its members to agree even when they don't. This causes the group not only to minimize conflict, but to seek to avoid it altogether and therefore reach decisions without any critical evaluation or context whatsoever. Today we are diving into the controversial topic of groupthink, what it is, what it's not, how to successfully navigate when you're in these probable situations, and how groupthink can negatively impact your decision-making processes. Groupthink occurs within a group of people in which the desire to appear harmonious or conform in the group results in a dysfunctional or less than fully vetted decision-making outcome. What groupthink isn't is shared values, shared morals, and common goals. It's not about aligning. It is about going along with the majority even when you don't agree. As psychologist Irving Janis pointed out, groupthink can lead to irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcomes. Think of the movie The Big Short, where Christian Bale portrays real-life Michael Burry, who went against the majority, the world, and made his own decisions based on his research, analysis, and expertise. He was ridiculed, threatened, and much worse because of his thorough decision-making process to stand alone and do what he knew was best for his fund and the people he served. The complete opposite of groupthink. How many of us are willing to do that kind of research, sacrifice, and hold out for the truth to finally reveal itself, or the truth that we all know but don't necessarily want to see or say out loud? I, along with the rest of us, have been exposed to the dysfunctional process of groupthink firsthand. In numerous groups where decisions were made that were worse for the majority, all to maintain the appearance of harmony and peace for the common good. This is a result of a lack of critical evaluation and a consensus decision being reached without proper consideration. I believe my upbringing played a role in my ability to question things and not just go along with the group. I was always asking questions and seeking the truth, even as a child. This led me to become an often outspoken but deliberate devil's advocate in many situations, challenging the group's narrative and pushing for critical thinking. Now, I've also gone along with the group and regretted it nearly every time. Group cohesion and the desire for harmony can often lead to groupthink, where conflict is minimized, but decisions are made without thorough evaluation. This can result in decisions that are not in the best interest of the group as a whole, but rather serve the needs of a small percentage of individuals. Groupthink may feel comfortable, but it's not often the best path to take. The dangers of groupthink can have catastrophic consequences in a multitude of environments. In a business setting, groupthink can lead to poor decision-making, a lack of innovation, and a failure to consider alternative viewpoints. This can result in missed opportunities, decreased productivity, and ultimately harm the bottom line. In a political setting, groupthink can lead to policies that are not in the best interest of those they are supposedly representing, as well as a lack of accountability and transparency. This then results in a loss of trust in government institutions and a disengaged population. Years ago, one of the days when I was volunteering at my son's school, I was chatting with some of the teachers while the children were outside for their recess. One of the popular teachers was adamant that the younger kids per grade should always be held back. A lot of parents agree with her as well and followed suit with their own children, which of course is their choice. When someone brought it to her attention that not all parents succumbed to her heat, she clipped back, because they're not teachers. As if to say, they don't know any better, and there's never a case or an outlier where she could ever be wrong. So, teachers who fall in line with her blanket mentality are the ultimate authority on a parent's choice and knowledge of their child, not the parent. How about we make decisions on a case-by-case basis? Little did she know, my son is one of those on the younger side, but I don't think she would have cared either way. Her arrogance definitely was bigger than all of us. Decisions like this cannot be made in a group blanket sweep. There, it's decided forever, for everyone. Had I ever followed that mob mentality advice, my son would have repeated kindergarten just because he's the youngest in the class and not received the accolade of Leader of the Year from his first grade teacher. So how can we avoid falling into the trap of groupthink, or get out of one once we realize what's happening? The first step is to actively encourage controversial opinions within a group. Speak out when your opinion isn't necessarily popular and even appoint a devil's advocate for the bigger decisions. This means actively seeking out different perspectives, viewpoints, and experiences. By doing so, we can ensure that we've exhausted any possible hidden gems before considering a final decision.
We hope you're enjoying today's episode as much as we loved creating it for you. And speaking of creating content, producing this podcast takes time, effort, and resources. We invest our heart and soul into bringing you valuable and entertaining episodes week after week. If you've been enjoying our show and would like to show your support, we have a fantastic way for you to do so. You can now support the show by making a small contribution through our Support the Show link. It's really easy. Just click on the Support the Show link in the show notes section, and it takes you right to our donation page. By donating, you'll be helping us cover various production costs, upgrading our equipment, and securing amazing guests for future episodes. Every little bit helps us tremendously in elevating the quality of our content. The platform is a user-friendly website where you can contribute easily. Plus, it's a fun way for us to connect with you and show our gratitude directly. We'll be sending some exclusive bonus content, behind-the-scenes footage, and special shout-outs to our supporters. So if you appreciate what we do and want to be part of this amazing journey, consider buying us a virtual cup of coffee or two. Your support means the world to us. Together, we can make this podcast even better and continue delivering top-notch episodes for your enjoyment. We appreciate you for listening and thank you in advance for your support. Now, back to the episode.
Another good way to avoid groupthink is to foster a culture of open communication and debate. Encourage team members to speak up and challenge the status quo. By creating an environment where dissent is welcomed and valued, we can prevent the group from falling into the trap of conformity and stunted growth. It's also important to consider making the deliberate decision of assigning a devil's advocate within a group. This person is solely responsible for challenging assumptions, asking tough questions, and playing devil's advocate to ensure that all aspects of a decision are thoroughly considered. Successfully navigating potential groupthink situations requires self-awareness, critical thinking, and the courage to speak up when necessary. By being mindful of our own biases and tendencies towards conformity, we can avoid falling into the trap of groupthink. When faced with a group that is exhibiting signs of groupthink, several strategies can be employed to navigate the situation successfully. The first is to actively listen to all viewpoints and consider all options before making a decision. By taking the time to pause and reflect before rushing to a conclusion, we can ensure that all aspects of a decision are carefully considered. It's also important to be willing to be the one to challenge the group and advocate for alternative viewpoints. By speaking up and voicing any concerns, we can ensure that multiple perspectives are taken into account and that the best decision is made based on any information, stats, data, and experiences that anyone may have. I cannot tell you how many times I have spoken up in a group situation and people have come up to me after and said, "I'm so glad you said that because it is exactly what I was thinking." Additionally, it's important to seek out feedback from outside sources. By consulting with experts, stakeholders, and other relevant parties, we can gain valuable insights and ensure that our decisions are well informed. Groupthink is a powerful force that can lead to poor decision-making and negative outcomes. By actively seeking a variety of perspectives, fostering open communication, and challenging the status quo, we can avoid falling into the trap of groupthink. And frankly, it's just more interesting. We can remember to be mindful of our own biases and tendencies towards conformity and dare to practice speaking up when necessary. By doing so, we can navigate potential groupthink situations successfully and make better decisions. Remember to stay open-minded-ish. At least-ish. Consider all viewpoints and challenge the status quo to avoid falling into the trap of groupthink. In a nutshell, groupthink can lead to detrimental outcomes and hinder critical thinking and innovation. It's imperative to be aware of this phenomenon and actively practice opposing it in our everyday lives. By encouraging different perspectives, fostering open communication, and challenging consensus thinking, we can break free from the constraints of groupthink and cultivate a culture of independent thought and creativity. So next time you find yourself in a group decision-making scenario, remember to question, challenge, and think critically before going along with the majority.
Having said that, if you haven't done so already, we are now accepting enrollments for Level Up Goal, our accountability program designed to support you in achieving your next goal. We've dedicated a significant amount of time and effort to create this program and will continue refining to ensure you receive massive value throughout your journey. Enrollment is currently available for a limited time. Here is the process to enroll and get started. Simply go to levelupgoal.com or click on the link in the description that takes you to the website where you can sign up and be a part of the coolest crew in town. Get in early because we are capping the amount of enrollment opportunities available, of course. For more stories and lessons, check out some of my other episodes in the series. Thank you for showing up and be well.